Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the GioMoShow, right here on 88.3 FM, WXOU, Auburn Hills, Michigan, Oakland University, and all your wonderful station identification features. I'm your host of the GioMoShow, Giovanni Mosheri. I'm also the sports media director here at WXOU, and the GioMoShow is your home for all Oakland University sports and beyond on 88.3 FM. You can follow WXOU on our MAB award-winning social media platforms, which you can find all at WXOU.org. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, TikTok. Find the Discord server. Get to know and stay in contact, stay connected with everybody at our wonderful college radio station. And while you're online, you can go and give me a follow as well. If you're watching on the GioMoShow's YouTube channel, then all the social media is on the screen right now in the description of the video. If not, if you're listening, then it will be in the description as well. Instagram, Twitter, and there's a TikTok somewhere. And the GioMoShow has its own Instagram page as well. Your place to find all the updates on the show. And if you're missing it right now, you're not with me live on YouTube, you're not with me now on the TuneIn Radio app or on WXOU.org, then fear not. The GioMoShow is uploaded to a podcast every week, so there's no way to miss the GioMoShow. And finally, you can go and subscribe to WXOU Sports on YouTube to find live streams of our broadcasts, of games and highlights and interviews and shows, everything you need from your favorite college radio station. And before we get started, do you need something fun to do with your friends? I do too. Let me tell you a place you can find it. Escape rooms are an incredible way to spend time with friends, family, and loved ones, and Escapology is an escape room franchise located in Mount Clemens. They have an escape room themed with Scooby-Doo, themed with Murder on the Orient Express, themed with The Code and Under Pressure. www.escapology.com has all the information you need to get escaping with your friends. Again, that's www.escapology.com. Escapology is located at 82 Macomb Place in Mount Clemens. Escapology, where time is of the essence. So I gave you a quick heads up of what we're going to be broadcasting here on WXOU. Wednesday, we will be broadcasting softball as they have a midweek series over Detroit Mercy. Wednesday at 1 o'clock will be our broadcast as part one of the doubleheader. Sadly, we'll only be able to do game one of said doubleheader, but you can still find it on WXOU Sports live streamed for that game as well. And then this weekend we got baseball as they take on Purdue Fort Wayne in a home series over the Mastodons, which you can hear here on WXOU as well. So to give you guys now the menu for today's GioMoShow, what are we going to be talking about? Well, of course, we're going to be talking about baseball, and of course, we're going to be talking about softball. But in addition to that, we'll start the show off with a little bit of extended coverage of men's basketball as their time in the spotlight of March Madness was not done yet, as we saw a couple of Golden Grizzlies make appearances in Phoenix, not, of course, in the Final Four games themselves, but in a little bit of the extracurricular activities of that weekend. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Baseball, to give you a heads up, sweeped Milwaukee over this weekend in Milwaukee to avenge my laptop, which I'm sure was the main motivation for that series. In addition to that, softball, they won the series over Youngstown State. The previously undefeated in league play Penguins fall to the Golden Grizzlies at home. So we'll be talking all about that. So let's get it started right now. Let's get going with the men's basketball segment. And if you guys have been living under a rock, it's understandable. Rocks are very comfortable. But if you've been in such a situation, let me update you on what's been going on as far as the Golden Grizzlies in March Madness. So, or at least in the realm of March Madness. So Jack Golke has continued to be in the spotlight ever since our win over Kentucky in the round of 64. A little bit more on the ramifications of that Kentucky win in a little bit. But Golke has been getting NIL deals like out his ears. He's up to his neck in NIL cash. Buffalo Wild Wings, Sam Detroit, Rockin' Protein, Formula Bod, TurboTax for a second time, as well as getting signed to an agency I'm not totally sure of the world that entails, but him trying to go to his professional career, that's a big step to get an agent in that way. So he's been continuing to just be all over the place in that. But in addition, he was invited to the college 3-point contest. I'm not sure the official name of it, but oh no, here it is. He was invited to compete in the Haynes Original Soft Touch Men's 3-point Championship. Haynes meaning like t-shirts and underwear. In addition to that, Jack, as well as a couple other players, I don't recall the names, but Jack on a team of 3 competed in the Hot Chicken Hot Shot Challenge, where it's more or less a around the world with a team of 3, where you have to make it from from the paint and then from the free throw line, the 3-point. Like, you kind of escalate and then they finish it off with a half-court shot. But Jack competed in that, and they smoked the competition. The Hot Chicken Hot Shot Challenge was completely owned by Jack Golke and his team, as they made every single shot they made. Or, excuse me, every single shot that they took. As other teams, a couple of teams that came before them, took their time a little bit, getting some of their shots to fall, but it was a clean sweep of the competition for Jack and his team. They finished with like 36 seconds to spare from the initial time, the initial benchmark time that was set, and just smoked it. Also, what's going on, Eric? Happy for you to tune in on YouTube, getting involved in the GioMoShow chat. Appreciate you tuning in. What is up? Not much, Eric. How you doing? So continuing on, in addition to the Hot Shot Challenge, there was a 3-point competition itself, where it was they had two shooters going at it at once, both on each end of the court, and turned out Keisei Tominaga of Nebraska was the champion of that competition. Unfortunately, Jack Golke did not perform to the level that everybody was expecting him to do, which people were expecting him to make every single shot. Unfortunately, that did not happen, and he, I believe, was exited in the first round of the 3-point competition. And let me tell you something. I tweeted this out too. I'm very proud of this tweet. But even when Jack was on part of my take and was on all the numerous interviews that he's done, he seems to do better when the 3-point shots are contested, as opposed to just being out in the open, just like kind of 2 feet on balance by himself. He likes the competition. He likes it to be contested. He doesn't like it easy. So him not doing so well in the 3-point contest, with nobody really in his face blocking his shot, it proved to be true. So I tweeted out, and one more jab at the Kentucky Big Blue Nation, but I tweeted out, apparently Kentucky's defense is easier to shoot against than an open gym at Kentucky Barstool. So didn't get too quite of a kind response from Big Blue Nation on that one, but listen, he enjoys his contested threes. So 3-point competition isn't quite the one that shows his complete skill set. But it's not done yet there for Jack Golke in Phoenix, and it's not just him there either. Later in the College All-Star Game, one that Jack was also invited to, he was part of the East team that was competed in that game. And who was coaching that East team? None other than our Greg Campy. So we had 2 Golden Grizzlies in the East All-Star team, in which Campy, unfortunately I didn't get to watch the whole game itself, but Campy was leading at halftime and showed off a little bit of his sense of humor. They were talking to him during the broadcast, but also like sort of during the game. They had an earpiece on him where they would talk to him, and because it's a casual game, it's a celebration of the tournament type of game, and Campy showed off a lot of his sense of humor. Not something that people from the outside would originally think from a old school, has the reputation for being a hair on fire type of coach, like every other college basketball coach is. But he was hilarious on the broadcast, where They were talking to him in the earpiece and said, Coach, you busted my bracket, I'm not going to lie. And then Campy responds with, well, I had Kentucky going the whole way, so that makes two of us. A little bit of that. And then at halftime, when they were leading, the halftime interview went to Campy, and they were saying, how you feeling? How did your team kind of have that surge to lead at halftime? And he said that, I told the team that we got to lead at halftime. Do you know why that's important? It's because the team who's leading at halftime, their coach gets to be on TV. So all Coach wanted was just to be on TV once again. And that he did. And him and Golke were great representatives for not only Oakland University, but for the Horizon League as a whole. As, now that I remember, it wasn't just Golke in that hot shot challenge. There was I forget who it was, but a member of the Milwaukee Panthers was at the competition itself. So the Horizon League was very well represented this weekend over in Phoenix, and it was great. It was great to see, just to kind of see that kind of relaxed, casual game of basketball, just kind of celebrating all their great players, and just to kind of get everybody geared up for the actual Final Four games. We won't talk about those games too much on the GioMoShow here. I haven't sat down and quite studied for them because I was busy covering Oakland sports, baby, because that's what we do here on the GioMoShow. But I will say, listen, those Reese's jerseys are freaking sweet. That's the last point I wanted to make on this on the weekend in Phoenix. The Reese's jerseys go hard, dude. I love those things. I'm also a fan of Reese's myself, so a little bit of a taste bud bias for that one too. But either way, it was fun. It was just fun to see. It was just fun to see Oakland one more time on the big stage, and all the coaches got to come too, and it was a fun time. It was fun to see all of them on social media for Oakland and for the Horizon League. It's nothing but good press, and we love that for the Horizon League. So that'll close out my thoughts on men's basketball for their we'll call it beginning of the off season. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I almost forgot something. I fooled you guys and I fooled myself. Not only did Jack get all this attention, I almost fell into the trap of giving Jack all the attention and nobody else. But in addition to all that, there was an award given out to one of our other Golden Grizzlies. One that goes by the name of Mr. Oakland. Something that Campy has his reserves about. But it was announced during the filming of this week's Full Court Press. With Patty Cesarini, it was Trey Townsend and Jack Golke in the OU TV studio. I'm pretty sure it was OU TV. They got a great podcasting studio that they lend out to the Golden Grizzlies athletics department. But during the filming of that, there was a furious interjection by Coach Campy. Barged into the recording studio. He was furious. He was saying that, he was telling Trey that, you're Mr. Oakland after 4 years? I've been here for 40? And he goes to Golke and he goes to Jack and says, I ain't getting any NIL money like you are. I want a cut of that. What's going on here? What's happened to my program? What are those shoes that you guys were advertising? Those freaking slippers? What's happened to my program? And he's telling Trey, like, do you know, you think you're the best player here at Oakland. Do you even know who Keith Benson is? He was Horizon League Defensive Player of the Year. I'm pretty sure he was. I'm just going off memory here, but he was a Player of the Year. He was Lou Henson Award winning. Do you even know who Keith Benson is? He's the best player in Oakland history. And then Trey and Jack are like completely like floored and caught off guard here, as coach is just there, like, you can tell with a little bit of a joking attitude, but like, they're like, what's going on here? Why is Coach so mad at me? We're just filming with Patty. What's going on here? And then Campy, through all of that, was there to send the message and to announce before everyone else knew that Trey Townsend was now himself a Lou Henson Award winner. For those who don't know who Lou Henson and who the Lou Henson Award represents, Henson is one of the greatest college basketball coaches in the history of the game. And the Lou Henson Award is awarded to the player that is in other words, the mid-major player of the year. Straight up. And not many, it's it's the player of the year for not the Horizon League, which he already won, not for the Horizon League tournament, which he already won, and it's not the Associated Press and it's not the Naismith, but it's the equivalent. It's like the Naismith Player of the Year award for mid-major basketball. It's the highest honor for at the level of Oakland plays, and now Trey Townsend is another Oakland recipient of that award. And with that, Oakland is now the only school in the entire country to have 2 Lou Henson Award winners. Keith Benson and now Trey Townsend. And it's... I can't believe I almost forgot to talk about this. But, no one more deserving than Trey for this one. He has done everything for this season for the Golden Grizzlies. As I mentioned, Horizon League regular season player of the year, first team All-League, tournament MVP, tournament winner, beating Kentucky, scoring 30 and 13 or whatever his stat line was against NC State, the team that made it to the Final Four. And all these awards, and all in the beautiful storyline between him and Campy and his father Skip. And everything has just been this crown jewel of a season for Trey Townsend and the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. And with all of that, with Trey accomplishing all he can here with Oakland, him and many other players have declared to the transfer portal. And listen, we could get into a whole discussion here about the transfer portal and what it's done to college basketball, and especially for mid-majors like us here in Oakland in the Horizon League. But this is now the time for these players. I don't want to list them all off because I don't know them by memory, but we have multiple transfer portal entries from this Golden Grizzlies squad, and you can think of it as in 2 ways. One is they're not loyal to the program, that they are making a mistake, and then they are, it's all about money and it's nothing about the team or the relationships or whatever. You could think of it that way, and it's not wrong. I can totally understand that, and there's a lot of players that do treat it that way, especially I would say in more of the Power 5 regions of college basketball and college sports. But for a case like this, for at least for mid-major basketball, coming off of a season like this, where you're on the map, where people now know where Oakland is, people now will be looking to the roster and checking out some film, and they have NCAA tournament film, 2 games worth. And otherwise, would our players be discovered by big teams? Maybe not. Will our players have an opportunity to have this kind of spotlight and potential have leverage in NIL deals and any kind of footing in that? Without a run like this, I'm not sure they would be discovered in that way. So with that, now is the time for these players to cash in. Now is the time for these players to either advance to a new place in their college basketball careers, to go to a place where they can earn more from NIL. This is one of the only opportunities that they're going to get to be able to cash in on that, because it's mid-major. It's not going to be billboards. There's not going to be State Farm commercials with our players in it. So whatever you can get, now's the time to go and do it. So as sad as it is to see some of our players leave, it's the way the world is now. And these players don't do it with malicious intent. They're not doing it because they hate the program or the school or the fans or their friends that go to the school and the friends they made. That's not the reason players transfer. It's because they want to, and especially in a case like ours, take that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and do everything they can with it to squeeze every bit of juice out of it and to, advance either their careers or to, and give themselves a platform to do whatever they need to do to be successful. So it stinks, but it's the way the world is. And I'm of the belief that Oakland, with this attention, can, yes, it kind of causes a transfer portal boost, but it also causes a transfer portal boost coming in. You know, not just going out, but we have the chance to have new players come in. And I've been monitoring Twitter, seeing the new commits to the Oakland program. I'm gonna have to do a little more research during the offseason about some of the new players that have at least verbally committed to Oakland. But I would imagine that it's gonna be a good crop. It's gonna be a good haul for this offseason because of the run we had, and because Campy has shown himself to be not only just he's not just a dude who's just been here for a while. He has the most experience with one program than anybody in the country. And he has shown the ability to win in the tournament, to get to the tournament. So that's very attractive for other players. So, and it's a shame, now wrapping this up to bring it up to Townsend. He's not only entered the transfer portal, but will be exploring the NBA draft. He will be declaring for the draft, going through the process there, seeing what is out there for him, but is also open to continuing at another university or even staying at Oakland. I find the latter to be less likely. Trey's done everything he has been able to do at Oakland. For him to return for a 5th year, yeah, it'd be nice, but this is his time to cash in, whether to play a higher level of basketball or to go to a place where more NIL opportunities, or you can even look to the education part of it. University of Michigan has reportedly expressed interest in our Mr. Oakland, Mr. Townsend. And for me, I find it to be best case scenario. Because, at least for me selfishly as a fan, I get to still root for him. My younger brother goes to Michigan, so he'll be able to root for him as well. And, if he goes to Michigan State, a little less of a joyous... joyous feeling there, just because of us playing Michigan State every year. But if he went to Michigan, my brother gets to cheer for him. I get to still cheer for him. If I wanted to, I could go to Chrysler Center and watch him play again. And I find that to be best case scenario. Dusty May now coming into University of Michigan, building a new program there, and that could be a good piece to add, and for Trey to test his skills in the Big Ten. So it's all good here. We're all happy for our players. We're all happy for the opportunity that they're now given, and we're going to be happy with the opportunities that they are looking to make. All right, so now we're finished with the basketball segment of the GioMoShow. I can't believe I almost forgot. I didn't write any of that down. I completely forgot about kind of the news coming out with Trey this week, so forgive me for that. But we're going to take a short break here before we get into baseball, and then later we'll be getting into softball as well. Here on the GioMoShow, 88.3 FM, WXOU The Grizz. Oh, if you guys are listening on WXOU, then this is the best promo that we have here. It's a... Well, I'm off air, I could say it. It's a seductive take on the Pizza Man storyline, if you know what I'm talking about. It's got that kind of vibe. I think it's hilarious. But... And yeah, Eric, if you're still watching it, it just was awesome to see the both of the All-Star game, Campy and Golke. But yeah, that stuff's always fun just to see, like, in a casual light. Campy is just so funny though. Yeah, I love seeing them. And so we'll be getting shortly into baseball and softball here. So, heads up. Yeah, for you guys, I'll say this on air. And we're back here on the GioMoShow, 88.3 FM WXOU. Don't forget to subscribe to the GioMoShow on YouTube. If you're watching with us right now on the live stream, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button to help support the channel, help support the show, and in a way, help support your WXOU radio station. You could go and subscribe to WXOU Sports as well as WXOU blank, our official YouTube channel, in addition to the sports YouTube channel. So go and like and subscribe and support your favorite college radio station in that way. Where you can also support the WXOU is by tuning in Tuesdays from 4 to 5, where we have the Blue Ski Mask Show, your home for all Detroit Lions and Detroit Pistons news here on 88.3 FM. Hosted by the Oakland Post, sports editor Brock Hillig and sports reporter Kirk Szymanski take you on an exhilarating ride through the world of the Detroit Lions and Pistons. Expert insights all centered around the NBA and NFL action here in the Motor City. Tuesdays from 4 to 5 is the Blue Ski Mask Show, your way to stay connected with the heartbeat of the Motor City sports action. So we're back here on the GioMoShow, 88.3 FM WXOU. Let's get now into baseball. I was about to say softball. We'll get to softball later. Let's get into baseball as they finish up a heavy week of play since we last spoke here on Monday, where we led the show right into a game against Toledo that was called here on WXOU in Toledo as well. Gavin and Drew were on the call over there in Ohio. Unfortunately, that game ended in a 2-3 loss in a very defensive, very sluggish game here, which was surprising given the Golden Grizzlies' offensive output that they've had coming into that Toledo game. But as it stands, Toledo, they got a two-run second inning to go up 2-0, and Oakland was able to respond and get the game tied at 2, leading or going all the way to the 7th inning here. They scored 1 in the 4th and then 1 in the 7th to bring it to a 2-2 score. But in the bottom of the 8th, Toledo was able to get just one more run to get their 3-2 lead, one that they would hold for the rest of the game, leaving it as the final score. Oakland falls to the Rockets 2-3. This was Monday of this week. And then they played a sloppy, terrible weather, miserable game against Bowling Green at home, against the Falcons. It was a game that was raining. It was just raining the entire time. Patty Cesarini was telling me all about it. She was on the sideline for that TV broadcast. It got bad enough to where the power was going out, and they had to cut the game at around, I believe, the 6th or 7th inning. They had to cut the game and postpone it to the next time when they play them in Bowling Green. I think they're just going to continue the last few innings as sort of like a 1.5 doubleheader, a 1.5 header, next time we see each other. But the game was cut with the score 18-17. That's how bad the weather was. The pitches weren't coming off right. No one could catch it. No one could see the ball. It was a merry-go-round of walks and of just like big hits. No one could pick it up, and it was just the worst kind of weather. I was paying attention to it during class from the live stats, and then I was trying to watch it, but the TV cut out obviously because of the power outage, and they said, "Screw this, we're out of here. We'll do this later." So that game, I believe Oakland had the 18-17 lead, but either way, like it was a rough game. So that one was postponed. That game was played on this past Tuesday. So where the weather was nicer, they went over to Milwaukee, or I think the weather was nicer. Couldn't be much worse than the Bowling Green one, but they played their away series against Milwaukee in a game that I declared as the Avenge and Revenge tour from my laptop, as every Milwaukee series will be from now till the end of time. But if you guys aren't familiar with what I'm talking about, last week on the GioMoShow, I shared the laptop game story with you. That is the the last third of the show. So you could go to YouTube after this show and find the timestamp for the laptop game story, and to explain my polite disdain for the Milwaukee Panthers baseball team. But either way, Golden Grizzlies went over to Milwaukee and laid the Smackets down. Swept the Panthers 3-0 over their 3 games, winning the first game. We'll talk about the first game here, 3-1. It was deadlocked going into the 5th inning, tied at 0, but Oakland was able to break the seal with 3 runs in the first inning. All their runs they got throughout the game was done so in the 5th inning. Sam Griffith had a sac fly to send a runner home. Carter Haynes scored on a wild pitch, and then Reggie Bussey did the same, scoring on a wild pitch. Milwaukee would go on to score 1 run in the 7th inning, but Oakland kept the score with a 3-1 victory. Kept the score low, I should say, for a 3-1 victory in Game 1. This was Friday. They played Friday, Saturday, and then a Saturday doubleheader, just to give you guys a calendar sense of it. So then in Game 2, Oakland was able to win this one 6-5, where Reggie Bussey in the 8th inning, where Oakland was down 5-2, Reggie was able, with bases loaded, to hit a triple to clear the bases and send 3 runners home to tie the game now at 5-5 going into the 9th inning. And then Carter Haynes was able to get the 1 run to get Oakland the win on a walk, as the bases were loaded once again. And Oakland was able to get that win 6-5, and setting up Game 3 for the one that would decide whether we sweep or just simply go out with a 2-1 series win. And that would end up being a series sweep. Oakland wins Game 3 7-3, where OU found themselves down by 2 going into the 5th inning. Score was 5-2 once again. Excuse me, let me review my notes here. Oakland found themselves down by 2 going into the 5th inning, but they responded right away to Milwaukee's 2 runs by scoring 2 of their own in the 5th inning. And then 3 more in the 6th inning. And then 2 more in the 7th inning to give them a big, big lead, as much as 7-2 in the 7th inning. Milwaukee would score 1 more to make the score 7-3, which is where it would stand, as Oakland wins Game 3 and gets the series sweep 7-3 in Milwaukee. Brandon Decker, during this series, as a relief pitcher for the Golden Grizzlies, appeared in all 3 of these games, totaling 9 innings pitched. And he had not 1, but 2 saves. He had 1 win, and he only allowed 3 runs, 6 hits, with 6 strikeouts, and didn't walk a single batter. As it was an incredible performance, graphic worthy, as the baseball social media posted a graphic, and Coach Banfield had his wonderful words to say to Mr. Decker, for someone who just craves to be on the mound and delivers same way in the 1st as he did in the 9th. Just a consistent pitcher for the Golden Grizzlies, a huge key into the series sweep in Milwaukee. And in more pitching news, I hate that these come out on Tuesdays because I'm a week late on all these, but for last week, for the April 2nd awards, Hunter Pydick was awarded the Pitcher of the Week in the Horizon League for his performance over the series in Wright State. Remember, Oakland also won in Wright State, and Hunter Pydick was the pitcher for Game 1, where they ended it in 7 innings. Pydick pitched a complete 7-inning game against Wright State, where he allowed just 1 run, had 2 strikeouts with no walks, as the Golden Grizzlies posted a 3-1 record and 2-1 series win at Wright State University this past week. That is via the Horizon League's website and official announcement of the award. So congratulations to Hunter Pydick for his award of Pitcher of the Week. And we'll be seeing tomorrow who will be getting the awards for Batter of the Week as well as Pitcher of the Week. So I'll be a week late again for next week's show. We do this in a bit of a delayed fashion, but that's okay. So as it currently stands, Oakland baseball is 15-16 overall on the season, with a 7-5 record in conference. Let me see how the standings stack up throughout the Horizon League here. Forgive me for looking it up live on the show here. So a 7-5 Horizon League record is good for 3rd place in the league so far. Northern Kentucky giving it to the league, 10-2 in conference so far. Wright State 8-4, and remember Oakland's responsible for 2 of those losses. And then Oakland's in at 3rd place, 7-5. Right behind them is Purdue Fort Wayne at 6-6, and then it drops off Milwaukee and Youngstown State with 3-2 league wins as of now. So Oakland's still scratching and clawing to get to that top spot and return to the number 1 seed in the Horizon League. I think they were the 1 seed last year. If not, they were the 2 seed. But either way, they want to have their return to glory, get back to the championship game. And a series like they had against Milwaukee is the key to do that. For their upcoming schedule, tomorrow they will be going to Ypsilanti to face the Eastern Michigan Eagles. That game is at 3 p.m. And then they will have their home series against Purdue-Fort Wayne. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll have those games for you on WXOU. So that will close out our baseball segment here of the JoMo Show. We will continue after this break with a look at the Youngstown State Series hosted at home for the Golden Grizzlies softball team, as we were there at WXOU broadcasting the games 2 and 3 doubleheader, myself and Patty Cesarini. So we'll give you, it's just me here, give you the scoop on that series here after this break. And after I tell you about the Friday Night Grooves program we have here on WXOU. Fridays at 8 p.m., listen to Friday Night Groove right here on WXOU. Hosted by DJ RBJ since 2011. Friday Night Groove is your home for some of the best soul, jazz, electronic, indie, and alternative music here at the station. He has interviews with various artists that he plays here on air and has one of the best voices in the radio game. It's almost a shame that he plays so much great music because his voice is golden. You can go to FridayNightGroove.com for more information on the show, and you can follow at Trill Gunderson. That's at TRIL Gunderson on Instagram for more news on the show. Friday Night Grooves, Fridays at 8 p.m. right here on WXOU. We'll be right back here on the JoMo Show with softball. Not Radio FX anymore, rather the TuneIn Radio app. Welcome back here to the JoMo Show, 88.3 FM, WXOU. Final segment of the show, we're running through the series of softball hosting Youngstown State here at the Oakland softball field. And it was a exciting series against the top team in the Horizon League. Youngstown State came into this series 9-0 in league play, but the Golden Grizzlies tacked on not only one but two losses to the Penguins to give them the series win over Youngstown State. We'll take you through each game here. Winning game one in exciting fashion. Doesn't get more exciting than the way it ended here, but I'll give you the lead up to such the game. So Youngstown State came out to an early lead, scoring a single run in the first inning to start things off in the series rather. Oakland then responded in the bottom of the second inning with two runs of their own to go up 2-1. The game would later be tied by Youngstown State in the third, and then the lead would be created and extended. Youngstown State scores a run in the fourth and the fifth to go up now 4-2 going into the seventh inning, the final inning. Oakland, down by 2, scores the 3 runs necessary to win the game. And the game was finished off with bases loaded by Macy Brown hitting a single, perfect drop down in the shallow left outfield to get Oakland the 1 run they needed to win it in walk-off fashion. You guys can see the footage of that hit on Oakland softball's social media pages, both Instagram and Twitter. It was just an exciting way to end the series, but it wasn't without controversy. This series was, in the eyes of the Penguins, marked by a little bit of deception, by a little bit of unfairness due to unfairness from the hosting team, because it was not known to Youngstown State that there was video replay for the first game, as the TV broadcast was there, and whenever there's a TV broadcast, naturally with the cameras, there's review available. But Youngstown State was not aware of this throughout the game until about the end. Near the end, I can't remember where specifically, but basically Oakland reviewed a play. And the Youngstown State was like, whoa, hold on. We have a review here? Well, if I knew that, I would have been reviewing other stuff. This is baloney. This is fugazi. I want this game disqualified. This is cheating. That was something like the response I'm sure Youngstown State had. So a lot of controversy with it. It was ruled that no foul play was in this situation here, and the game would end up counting, and the walk-off win would stand as legitimate. So Youngstown State was not happy about it. So coming into this doubleheader, you knew there was going to be that little bit of friction. You knew that the head coach of the Penguins was going to be a little bit more on point and a little bit more skeptic, a little bit more suspicious of the Golden Grizzlies. And whether that led to their single win or not, I'm not sure. But the way Game 2 went was not the same way that it went for Game 1. Youngstown State, how should I phrase this? It was deadlocked up until the fourth inning. No one scored until the fourth inning, where each team scored a single run each to continue the deadlock instead of 0-0, now at 1-1. And during that deadlock, I will say, and I do want to give a shout out here to the two freshmen of the Oakland softball team, Brooklyn Plitz as well as Alyssa Balcom, hailing from the recently 31-4 and third ranked in the state of Michigan, Macomb Dakota Cougars, baby. Go Cougars! We have two freshmen from that team here with the Golden Grizzlies now, in addition to our Lexi Grammatico, fellow graduate of Dakota High School, class of 2020. We graduated together, but we got a lot of Cougars. We have a lot of Dakota Cougars on the team there, so I just wanted to give them their shout out. Alyssa Balcom, the freshman pitcher, started for this game here. In the first inning, it was bases loaded early, and they either had none or one out on the board so far, so it was a lot to dig through to save some runs here for Oakland. But Balcom, after a nice mound meeting, was able to sharpen up and to save Oakland from allowing any runs with the bases loaded against the best team in the league in the first inning. Nerves of steel from Alyssa Balcom, and I want to give her a shout out, as well as Brooklyn Plitz, who played very well in the outfield throughout the series. So I just wanted to absolutely make sure that my Macomb Dakota Cougars are well represented and well shouted out from a fellow graduate. So go Cougars. But in the fifth inning, however, with the game tied 1-1, in the fifth inning, YSU would load the bases again. And this time they would end up getting a couple of runs off of that. A 2-1 lead was gained by Youngstown State after a walk, and then a single would add on another run to give a 3-1 lead to the Penguins, one they would hold for the rest of the game. Oakland loses in Game 2, 3-1 over the Penguins, to set up Game 3 to be the winner-take-all for the series. And this time, it was between the two best pitchers that we have here in the Horizon League, Sophie Howell and our Sydney Campbell. Head-to-head throughout the game, it was a struggle to get anybody moving on the bases. It was a struggle to get any points on the board, as these pitchers do not allow a lot. But Oakland was able to crack it open early to get a 2-0 lead after the first inning from a Taylor Caraway double to center field to score 2 runs for the Golden Grizzlies. That would prove to be the deciding factor during the game. As me and Patty Cesarini, who was on the broadcast with us on WXOU, we were talking about it throughout, that in a game with as great pitching as we have here, a pitcher's duel was a phrase we used throughout the whole broadcast, but in a pitcher's duel like that, any run scored, and especially early, will be crucial throughout the entire game. So by Oakland getting that 2-0 lead in the first inning, put all the pressure on Youngstown State's batters against our best pitcher in the league. Put all the pressure on them to not only score 1, but 2 and 3 to win the game and to win the series. Tall task to do when your pitcher's only giving up about two earned runs. I forget how it's calculated, but an ERA of like 2.5 or below that. Tough situation to put the batters in, and that's what Oakland did. A 2-0 lead would last throughout the fifth inning, where Oakland would score another run. This time off of a Jen Kritska double to get Oakland a 3-0 lead. And the thing with that double, Kritska not only is one of the best batters that we've had here in Oakland's program history, as she is now, I believe, second in home runs, in career home runs with 20. But to get, before that double happened, to get Oakland that 3-0 lead, 2 times in a row, Kritzka would go and swing for the ball, and it would spike down to the inside of her left knee. Twice in a row this happened. You ever try getting hit by a softball in the knee? On the inside of the knee? I don't know if it was like one of those like stingers underneath the cap. But those hurt badly. And she was limping and hopping and was tough enough and able to get back to the box. Again, this happened twice. This doesn't happen often. And to get smashed in the knee twice, and then to go out and hit a double, to get another cherry on top type of run, an insurance run to ensure your victory against the best team in the Horizon League, that takes guts. So big shout out to Jen Kritzka for getting that third run for Oakland as they would win in a shutout, 3-0 over the Youngstown State Penguins. And be sure to go to WXOU Sports to look and to listen to our full game broadcast. There's something wrong with the YouTube stream, so I chopped it up. And you have the full cut version of the doubleheader broadcast on WXOU Sports. We have a broadcaster recap between myself and Patty Cesarini. And we have an interview with Sydney Campbell herself, talking about the defensive nature of both the games played, as well as the pitching duel. Did she have any kind of extra motivation to go up against Sophie Howell of Youngstown State? You figure that out, and you hear that from her herself on WXOU Sports. Go and find the interview we had with her, and hit subscribe, like the video, everything you can to support your favorite college radio station's sports department. So, upcoming now for the Golden Grizzlies softball team is a midweek series hosting Detroit Mercy. This series will be at home during the week, hoping the weather is going to be as nice as it is today. Hopefully there's not going to be more eclipses for this midweek series, but we hope the weather is as nice as it is now against rival Detroit Mercy. Those games will be Tuesday at 3 o'clock, and then Wednesday 1 p.m., Wednesday 3:30 p.m. as a Wednesday doubleheader will be had. WXOU will be broadcasting the Tuesday game as well as the first of the doubleheader on Wednesday. So be sure to stay tuned, to like and to follow WXOU social media to keep sure and to find the broadcast, to know when we're going on, and to know everything you need to know about our broadcast. But this Detroit series is going to be huge, and it's going to be a chance for Oakland to cash in on a couple more wins, as Detroit Mercy, following a similar path to their men's basketball team, sadly, as they have 1, maybe 2 wins on this season so far. Let me look at the softball standings and let's know for sure. But yeah, Detroit Mercy 1-25 on the season, 0-6 in conference. So this is going to be the chance for Oakland to stack on potentially 3 wins during the week here to potentially jump up to first place in the Horizon League, as Youngstown State stands there still at first place, 10-2, Northern Kentucky 7-2, and then Oakland 6-3 in conference play. So be sure to tune in on WXOU Tuesday at 3 o'clock and then Wednesday at 1 p.m. for two games of the 3-game series against Detroit Mercy. So with that will wrap up the softball segment here of the GioMoShow. We have covered not only men's basketball in Phoenix for the 3-point competition in the All-Star game. We covered baseball's series sweep against Milwaukee and their wonderful pitching by Brandon Decker, and the Horizon League Pitcher of the Week award for Hunter Pydek. And we talked about softball series win over the number 1 Youngstown State Penguins, and told you all where you can find it on WXOU. Gave you all the highlights that you need here from the GioMoShow. So with that, we got a little bit of extra time here, so wanted to give my quick thoughts. For a radio show here, we got to stay on air. So with that, talking about the Final Four and talking about the championship games of the women's and the men's basketball tournaments. But I will say, for some reason, and maybe it's just I wasn't tapped in as much, but how come I didn't know, like I heard about it a little bit, but why was it not a bigger storyline that South Carolina's women's team has not lost a game all season, has lost 3 games in the past 3 years? Why was that not a bigger storyline going into the game? I understand that it's Caitlin Clark. That's the number one. That's the straw that stirs the drink for women's basketball right now. So I understand that being the big story, but South Carolina lost 3 games in 3 years. That's like 100 games. That's over 100 games. And they only lost 3 of them in 3 years. And with that, South Carolina winning this one, a perfect 38-0 season with 5 new starters. Last year's starting team that lost in the Final Four all went to the WNBA. All went professional. I think all of them went to the league, but losing all 5 of your starters and then coming back with an undefeated season is insane for South Carolina. I get it. Maybe, I mean, the star power is not there. The way that, I mean, obviously the way our media game works is if you have a star player, that will usually spearhead the coverage for a team. But this is entirely a team effort for South Carolina. Nobody averaged over 28 minutes a game on that team. Everyone was shared. All the talent was shared, distributed throughout, and that's much more dangerous than having a star player, I would say. Because here's the thing, what would you rather, and I'm not saying this is exactly what Iowa was. Of course, they were absolutely a fantastic team themselves. But would you rather face a 10 out of 10 player along that is on a team with 5s? Or would you rather face a team that is 5 players, 8 out of 10? I find the latter to be a lot more dangerous because you don't have just one option to take away and then take your chances against the rest. Everybody on a team like that has potential for destruction. And it's hard to cover 5 destroyers in that sense. So for a team built like South Carolina, it's just an insane the run that they've had and just the success that their program has had. Now, does it kind of suck for the sport of women's basketball? Would it have been better for Caitlin Clark to win the championship and to finally catapult herself into the pantheon of the absolute best women's college basketball players of all time? Because a lot of people will, have a little bit of hesitation giving Clark that title because of her lack of championships. That makes sense. That's totally fine. I'm not disagreeing with it, but that would have been her ticket to Mount Olympus in that sense. But unfortunately, past 2 years was Clark unable to get it done. But listen, here's a greater point that I want to make about how sports are covered here. I'll relate this to because this also kind of occurred with when Jack Golke was going off against Kentucky. And I understand us as sports fans that it's natural to do this. But why is it that when a player is good in college or is good in whatever other non-NFL, NBA, MLB, if they're... Let me rewind this. Why is it that when a player is good in leagues that are not those, we can't just appreciate that? It constantly, with either a college player or a minor league player, it is instantly compared to, well, how would they play in the pros? Zach Edey's facing this kind of same treatment as well, where yeah, they're good in college, but would they be good in the NBA? Would they be good in the WNBA? Would they be good in the NFL? No, okay? The answer for a lot of times, and I'm not saying these specific cases, but a lot of times the answer is no. Because there's not a lot of people that get to play at that high level, that are good enough to play at that high level. Why is it that us as sports fans have to constantly raise the bar so unbelievably high for players that we see that there is nothing they could do it is impossible to meet that expectation. So therefore, we don't like the player as much. For Jack Golke, when he was going off against Kentucky, people were saying, does he have a spot in the NBA? Could he play in the NBA? Listen, I love Jack. Probably not. He said so himself. So now that we arbitrarily set the bar at the NBA level for Jack Golke, we can't appreciate what he did at college. We can't appreciate what he did at Oakland because for some reason he has to be an NBA player. I think that sucks. We have to constantly diminish the players that we love, players that are doing well in the spot that they're in, for no reason. Like with Zach Edey. Oh, well, he wouldn't be good in the NBA. He's too slow. Why can't he just be good at college? He is good in college. He is fantastic. He is a 2-time Naismith Player of the Year award winner in a team that's in the championship game. Why can't he just be good here? We don't have to worry about the NBA right now. We are, for some reason, allergic to praising players for the spot that they're in right now. I don't get that. Because it's like, don't you want to like players? Isn't that the goal? Some people don't. But, like, it's just that bothers me so much that we can have this conversation about, and I'm keeping Caitlin Clark kind of out of this comparison because of, she's obviously going to be really good in the WNBA, but it's so the chances of making it to the pros from college is so small. It's small of a chance to make it. Smaller even to have any minutes. Smaller even to be good. Do you see how this trickles up? Very few players get to be good in college. Or, excuse me, get to be good in the pros. So why can't we just appreciate them for their success in college? I don't like the vibe of instantly moving the bar so unbelievably high. So I kind of forgot how I came to here, but it's a philosophy I've been struggling with, as of recently, especially with the college tournament. Like, obviously, all the time comparing it to the NBA is like, you just hate good players. You just hate good college players. I can't stand that. But anyway, yeah, the men's championship game going on tonight. I think UConn is going to have is going to be tested, but it's just UConn is an unstoppable force. I got UConn winning this one. I do love the matchup of two giant 7+ footers going at it, and Klingon and Edey. It's going to be so fun. It's like, I've heard it compared to Godzilla versus King Kong. Like, it's going to be so fun. I love big matchups like that because we don't see that often in college basketball where it's like a really big versus a really big. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be like Godzilla versus Kong. So I'm looking forward to that. I think UConn's going to get the back-to-back because their coach is an absolute psychopath, and they don't underestimate anybody, and they plan to bury and just kill everybody they see. So UConn, I think, is going to repeat tonight, but Purdue has had an amazing basketball program and an amazing run. So it'll be a fun game tonight. I'll be tuning in, and I hope you guys too. And I hope you guys will be tuning into the GioMoShow's podcast cut shortly after this live show here. We'll be back here Mondays at noon right here on WXOU. This has been Giovanni Mosher for the GioMoShow. Subscribe here on YouTube, like and comment. Find us on the podcast, 5-star review, everything you can to support the GioMoShow. Well, we'll be back here Monday at noon. We'll see you later. One moment.